Major funding for NJTV News is provided in part by the members of the New Jersey Education Association, making public schools great for every child, and PSE&G. We make things work for communities.
Tonight on NJTV News, heavyweights join a congressional race.
Days after Joe Biden stumps in New Jersey, candidate Mikey Sherrill brings Gabby Giffords and Captain Mark Kelly on the campaign trail. Will it be enough to help her pull away in this Republican stronghold?
Health insurance rates in New Jersey are going down next year. You heard me right.
The state attorney general launches an investigation into priest sex abuse. Hear what victims have to say.
Plus, President Obama comes out swinging with scathing words for the current president and his party. Those stories and more next on NJTV News.
Live from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio at 2 Gateway Center in Newark, this is NJTV News with Mary Alice Williams.
Hello, thank you for joining us. With just 2 months until the midterm election that could determine which party controls Congress, New Jersey's most heated congressional contest is getting hotter. Brianna Vernozzi reports.
With polls leaning slightly Democratic in the 11th District, the Republican State Committee released this new website late in the week, calling candidate Mikey Sherrill an agent of the Phil Murphy and Bob Menendez team.
Is that an offensive move or a defensive move?
No, I view it very much as an offensive move. I mean, I don't think Mikey Sherrill is who she says she is. She's not the moderate that she portrays herself to be. You know, I mean, her supporters are from that radical left wing of the Democratic Party. Those are the people that are filling her coffers. Those are the people with whom she marches. Those are the people that are manning her phone banks. And if she gets sent to Congress, she becomes a rubber stamp for Nancy Pelosi.
It's not a new talking point for the GOP, but it's one they're counting on, especially as Sherrill continues a high-profile campaign. Just 2 days after former Vice President Joe Biden was on the stump, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords and husband Mark Kelly appeared on the trail today, giving a hearty endorsement, part of their national tour supporting gun reform and veterans running for office.
Do you have the courage to fight? Stand with me. Vote, vote, vote.
You got to work incredibly hard. Don't let some poll fool you that might say she's ahead. These seats, people don't give up. The other side is going to be working incredibly hard.
Giffords suffered a gunshot wound to the head in 2011 while serving in Congress. Kelly's a retired astronaut and New Jersey native. Together, their organization has helped pass gun reform laws across the country and endorsed officials who support it.
I'm fighting hard to get into Congress and pass good legislation so we can have things like universal background checks, make sure domestic abusers don't have access to firearms, make sure people on the no-fly list or the terrorist watch list don't have access to firearms.
Sherrill's going toe-to-toe with Republican Assemblyman Jay Weber, who recently had sitting Vice President Mike Pence headline a fundraiser and endorsement. That may be the shot in the arm his campaign needs. As of last filing in June, Sherrill raised 6 times more with nearly $3 million cash on hand.
People know who I am. They know my message. They're not going to get too caught up in the proxy game and evaluate the candidates on their own merits. And when they do that, they're going to see those stark differences on taxes, on the economy, on immigration, on a number of issues down the line. And that's why we're so hopeful and optimistic about the outcome of the race.
Weber said today he takes a common-sense gun safety approach after coming under fire for votes in the state legislature. His party sees the accelerated campaign pace and appearances as a good sign.
I think it's interesting that you have high-profile Democrats coming to New Jersey, because I would think 3 or 4 months ago they would have written New Jersey off and figured it's just not a competitive place. But I'm encouraged by the fact that you have Joe Biden here, you have Hillary Clinton coming. I think they realize that there's a race between now and November, and they need to spend some time paying attention to New Jersey.
Are these the type of things that swing your vote when it comes to deciding on the candidate?
Absolutely. I'm a Republican. I was an elected Republican for many years. But gun violence matters to me because I have young grandchildren and they're being affected by it.
The question comes down to future support for either candidate and whether bringing in these power players will move the needle for voters. In Woodland Park, Brianna Vernozzi, NJTV News.
Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the United States Supreme Court is heading for a Senate Judiciary Committee vote. Days of grilling from committee members and testimony from dozens of witnesses for and against his nomination were capped by chilling words from a chief Watergate witness. President Richard Nixon's former White House counsel, John Dean, said, quote, "There is much to fear from an unchecked president who is inclined to abuse his powers." He said, under Judge Kavanaugh's recommendation, if a president shot somebody in cold blood on Fifth Avenue, that president could not be prosecuted while in office, unquote. But the fourth and final day of confirmation hearings for President Trump's Supreme Court pick were eclipsed by fiery rhetoric from Trump's presidential predecessor. Senior correspondent David Cruz joins us with details. David?
Mary Alice, for Democrats, it was Flashback Friday. The former president at the end of a tumultuous week in a tumultuous year, signaling that he is back on the scene, ready to point out the differences between the two major parties in an effort to mobilize the Democratic base, and he says restore checks and balances. Speaking to an audience at the University of Illinois, Obama urged them to engage in the political process, specifically because the country appears to be so divided.
It did not start with Donald Trump. He is a symptom, not the cause. When there's a vacuum in our democracy, when we don't vote, when we take our basic rights and freedoms for granted, when we turn away and stop paying attention, and stop engaging, and stop believing, a politics of fear and resentment and retrenchment takes hold, and demagogues promise simple fixes to complex problems. No promise to fight for the little guy, even as they cater to the wealthiest and most powerful. No promise to clean up corruption and then plunder away.
The former president, who has faced criticism for his relative silence during the current political upheaval, chose to focus today on the Republican Party, which controls both houses of the legislature, but is facing a serious challenge in the upcoming midterms.
Got a lot of good Republican friends here in Illinois, but over the past few decades, the politics of division and resentment and paranoia has unfortunately found a home in the Republican Party. Republicans who know better in Congress, and they're there, they're quoted saying, yeah, we know this is kind of crazy, are still bending over backwards to shield this behavior from scrutiny or accountability or consequence. Seem utterly unwilling to find the backbone to safeguard the institutions that make our democracy work. And by the way, the claim that everything will turn out okay because there are people inside the White House who secretly aren't following the president's orders, that is not a check. I'm being serious here. That's not how our democracy is supposed to work. These people aren't elected. They're not accountable. They're not doing us a service by actively promoting 90% of the crazy stuff that's coming out of this White House and then saying, don't worry, we're preventing the other 10%.
The current president, meanwhile, asked about the Obama speech today. He was not impressed.
I'm sorry, I watched it, but I fell asleep. I found he's very good for sleeping.
Obama will be campaigning in California this weekend and will crisscross the country, stumping for Democrats in House races this fall. This week, former Vice President Joe Biden was in Jersey, where several Republican House seats are in jeopardy, but there's no word yet on whether we'll see Obama in the Garden State this fall. Mary Alice.
Thank you, David. New Jersey is shoring up Obamacare in the wake of the Trump administration's efforts to weaken it, taking what the governor calls aggressive action to keep costs down under the Affordable Care Act. Senior correspondent Brenda Flanagan reports.
What does it mean for New Jersey's health care consumers? One word, period, full stop, savings.
Governor Murphy relished making a rare announcement that New Jersey healthcare insurance rates on the individual market will drop 9.3% on average next year, a result of the state's decision to defend Obamacare against attacks by the Trump administration.
With President Trump and his Republican enablers both in Congress and in state houses around the country continuing their assault on the Affordable Care Act, it has inevitably fallen to us to act in the interests of our residents and consumers and in the name of common sense.
Measures enacted by lawmakers and signed by the governor this year include a state individual mandate, a ban on limited coverage junk plans, and a 5-year reinsurance program signed today and submitted to the federal government that will reimburse insurers up to 60% of catastrophic medical bills. New Jersey's the only state with all 3 measures.
It's significant because if it is that everyone isn't in the pool swimming in the same direction at the same time, it just makes it unaffordable for everyone else.
The net result, a New Jersey Silver plan that currently costs $350 a month, for example, will drop to roughly $314 on the individual health market next year instead of rising to $394. That's $422 in annual savings, according to Governor Murphy. What's that make New Jersey?
Frankly, we're number one in terms of combating the sabotage of the Affordable Care Act. There was a national organization that just designated New Jersey in that category. And I think we should all be proud about that. I mean, this is an amazing accomplishment.
Here's some context. This year's average rate increases in New Jersey topped 23%, and preliminary requests for next year had hit 12.6%. Now Jersey's looking at a 9.3% decrease. Compare that to neighboring New York, which requested a 24% rate increase next year. Connecticut asked for a 12.3% increase. Maryland, a 30.2% increase.
We are proving that it is imperative that states step up and defend access to care.
We know that the best way to do this and to contain costs is to lower the number of uninsured residents, provide stability in the marketplace, and ensure that every eligible person has a policy that suits their needs and budget.
The bottom line for enrollment, because rates will go down, health officials hope to see enrollment go up by 8,000 customers next year. In Red Bank, I'm Brenda Flanagan, NJTV News.
Jobs and more jobs top the state of New Jersey business. Here with all the business news is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda?
Mary Alice, finally worker paychecks are getting fatter. Today's monthly jobs report from the federal government showed wage growth posted its highest increase in 9 years. Average hourly earnings rose 2.9%. The average hourly wage for workers in the U.S. is now $27.16. 201,000 new jobs were created, and the unemployment rate held steady at 3.9%. Now, this report was stronger than what we heard from Roseland-based ADP yesterday. These job numbers tend to be a bit volatile, but the economists say the underlying trend is that the labor market is strong. For workers at Camden-based Campbell Soup, these remain unsettled times. The activist investor putting pressure on the company says he now wants to see the entire board of directors replaced. Daniel Loeb isn't satisfied with Campbell's recent decision to sell some of its businesses to reduce debt. Loeb would have to convince a majority of Campbell's shareholders to go along with him to get those new directors elected. In response to this latest development, Campbell says it remains open to evaluating all strategic options. A follow-up to the story we reported last night regarding a Rider University professors' union concerns about what happens to Westminster Choir College's $20 million endowment after the school is sold. The union is concerned about potential inappropriate use of the fund. The president of the company formed to acquire Westminster says that claim is unfounded and that the endowment fund will continue to be used to sustain and grow the music school. And Rider University called the union's claim irresponsible, adding that it is doing everything it can to secure Westminster's future. Just in time for the start of pro football season, more Atlantic City casinos are ramping up their sports betting offerings. Caesars has started online and mobile betting, and the Tropicana says it too will begin offering sports betting in the near future. Also this week, 2 separate sports betting apps, FanDuel and William Hill, went live. New retailers and restaurants are coming to New Jersey. It was announced this week that Party City will open 6 temporary Halloween City and Toy City stores in Clifton, Rockaway, Eatontown, Deptford, Island, and Paramus. Now, some of those stores will be located in former Toys R Us locations. A California-based Indian restaurant chain, Curry Up Now, plans to open 5 locations in New Jersey, and a Starbucks will be opening in Newark Penn Station. But one big store is closing. Lord & Taylor says it will shut its Monmouth Mall store early next year. Meantime, there's still no word on whether Amazon is any closer to picking a city for its second headquarters. Today marks the 1-year anniversary since Amazon launched its nationwide search. Newark is one of Amazon's 20 finalists, but the company has offered no new clues about when it will make its final selection. Another vehicle recall, this time is from Ford. The recall covers 1.6 million Ford F-150 pickup trucks purchased in the U.S. during the last 3 years. Ford says it needs to fix a seatbelt malfunction that could cause a potential fire hazard during a crash. On Wall Street today, stocks closed lower. The Dow fell 79 points. And those are your top business stories.
New Jersey is now one of 7 states investigating allegations of sexual abuse by Catholic priests, along with any attempts to cover up the crimes. State Attorney General Gurbir Graywal's task force will be led by an experienced sex crimes prosecutor with subpoena power to compel testimony and produce documents. Michael Hill reports.
I'm a clergy sexual abuse victim of several different men.
What happened to those Bob Hotzen accused?
No one has ever been held accountable. I reported all of them. I can't think of one person who was even scolded.
It's a familiar story over decades of bishops following church law and compiling secret files of the crimes, but shuffling sex-abusing priests to other parishes like a shell game, and the abusers evading investigation and prosecution. But a month ago, Pennsylvania's Attorney General dropped a bombshell grand jury report detailing years of abuse and cover-up.
One boy was forced to stand on a bed in a rectory, stripped naked, and pose as Christ on the cross for the priests. They took photos of their victim, adding them to a collection of child pornography which they produced and shared on church grounds. The 888-page report catalogs crimes by some New Jersey priests, troubling Attorney General Gurbir Graywal, who's authorized a task force to use subpoenas to compel testimony, and the Roman Catholic Church to turn over documents. Former acting Essex prosecutor Robert Lorino will lead the task force. The AG has set up a hotline to hear from victims. In a statement, Graywal says the Pennsylvania report revealed that sexual assaults on children and efforts to cover up such assaults were far more widespread in Pennsylvania than we ever thought possible. We owe it to the people of New Jersey to find out whether the same thing happened here. If it did, we will take action against those responsible. We will devote whatever resources are necessary to uncover the truth and bring justice to victims.
Certainly the Archdiocese of Newark will cooperate and work with the task force as it conducts its inquiry.
The Newark Archdiocese says it's investigating current abuse allegations, and since a 2002 Memorandum of Understanding with the state and counties, it's reported claims to investigators. What does it think of having its secret files subpoenaed?
I think that's really a legal question, and I'm not so sure where things are actually going to go, but we're prepared to meet with the individuals in the task force.
Last week, State Senator Joe Vitale called for this kind of investigation, saying no person, no institution should be immune from accountability or from justice.
It's significant in terms of protecting children going forward, but also gives a voice and justice to those who haven't been able to have it for all these years and decades.
We've been calling for an investigation for years.
Bob Hotzen says he was booted from the Catholic ministry when he advocated for clergy abuse victims. He co-founded Road to Recovery and is eager for the task force to get started.
I will say publicly today that I would be very happy to be part of that. I've worked with hundreds of victims in the state of New Jersey. I've uncovered a lot of the corruption, and I hope that Robert Lorino is going to include victims and advocates on his task force. I do trust law enforcement much more than I trust the church. I do not have full confidence in government because even law enforcement has been deferential to the church throughout the years.
But abuse survivors pray it's a new day. Michael Hill, NJTV News.
Fallout from fraternity tragedies, that tops tonight's Garden State Express. Our first stop, West Long Branch, where conduct violations involving drugs, alcohol, and hazing have led Monmouth University to suspend fraternities and sororities indefinitely. Last spring, university officials asked leaders of the Greek community to draft a plan addressing those issues. The president says the plan they submitted fell short. So until he receives and approves what he calls an acceptable plan from the Greek Senate, 750 students in 7 fraternities and 9 sororities will not be able to engage in recruitment, social, philanthropic, or any other activities. Earlier this week, the North American Interfraternity Conference voted to ban hard liquor in most fraternities across the country. Next to Bridgeton, where the Cumberland County Corrections Officers Union president fired off an email to the warden and other county officials asking why the jail's new $138,000 body scanner is still not operational. The scanner would allow officers to see weapons or drugs and contraband inmates might try to smuggle inside. It was delivered in May, and in July, the jail's warden said it would be up and running in 2 weeks once the badges that register radiation exposure were delivered. Well, they arrived 2 days ago. Now the county administrator says the scanner should be operational within the next 2 weeks. Finally, Paterson picking up. Residents in all 6 wards are fanning out to improve streetscapes and create green space. Since Mayor Andre Seo was inaugurated July 1st, he's focused on quality of life issues, reviving the Environmental Commission to encourage recycling, and a Clean Streets initiative to spruce up the old industrial city's commercial corridors. And now he's encouraging teams of residents to don green team shirts and give their neighborhoods a clean sweep. And that's a Garden State Express for Friday, September 7th. Something up in your neighborhood? Tip us off. New Jersey's one giant step closer to getting offshore wind off the ground. The State Board of Public Utilities has accepted the application filed by EDF Renewables and Fisherman's Energy to erect 3 wind turbines not 3 miles off the Atlantic City coast. If, after BPU review, the 25-megawatt offshore wind project gets final clearance, the 2 firms say it could be completed as soon as 2020 and start generating power as early as 2021. Now to power politics, Governor Phil Murphy and Senate President Steve Sweeney made a point of appearing together in public, exchanging compliments at a Labor Day event. But insiders say they still harbor hard feelings stemming from their feud that nearly shut down state government in June. Chief political correspondent Michael Aaron put the 3rd man in the Trenton Power trio, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, on the record as his program returns this weekend from its summer hiatus.
We see signs of sniping under the radar. Mm-hmm. Are we imagining this rivalry?
If you want to talk about those things, I suggest you probably would be better served by talking to the governor and to the Senate president. My job, as I said at the outset, is to make sure that the voice of the Assembly is heard. And to the extent I can, I have tried to bring consensus where it was in the best interest of New Jersey. I think that's one of the roles I played in the budget process. And it's one of the things that I do day in and day out, in trying to advance an agenda that's best for New Jersey.
Some say that you were the adult in the room during the budget negotiations. What do you say to that?
Oh, I probably got more credit than I deserve.
You can watch Michael's entire interview Saturday evening at 6:30 and again Sunday morning at 10:30. some noteworthy facts that help you know Jersey. New Jersey's health insurance rates increased by more than 23% in 2018. New Jersey's 11th and 12th congressional districts were created in 1913. Monmouth University was initially established as a junior college in 1933, and there are currently no offshore wind turbines in New Jersey, none. If there's someone who you'd like to get to know Jersey, share. Use hashtag #KnowJersey. Next week on NJTV News, honoring the memory of the family and friends lost on September 11th. To share any story you've seen tonight, go to njtvnews.org. I'm Mary Alice Williams. For all the men and women of NJTV News, thanks for being here. Have a good weekend.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. NJM Insurance Group, serving the insurance needs of New Jersey residents and businesses for more than 100 years. And Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.